Good morning, Wiser family. Good morning, Wiser Nation. Good morning. It's so good to see us all. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Georgie Coley Spieth, we can't wait to have you on the program tomorrow as our second guest. Good morning. And thank you all for being here again. How have you been? How was your yesterday? So let me ask, from day one till now, has something changed or adjusted in the way you do anything? Please tell me. Or what has changed, or what have you applied, or what decision have you made for 2023 that is different from how you started December? Has some decision been made? I'd like to see a few responses. Have you written something in your journal that you were going to apply in 2023, and have you already begun to apply it somehow because 2023 actually starts now? Yes, thank you, Sarah. Always want to do the right thing even though it doesn't please anyone, because being right, doing right is more important than pleasing people. Fantastic. I've also started working on my goals for 2023 rather than waiting till next year. Fantastic. That's the spirit. That's the way to go. You know how they say if you want to get up and get something done the next day, prepare the night before. So I prepared the night before. I'm dressed in my exercise gear so that as soon as I get up from here, I'm out to hit the road. That way it makes it easier for me. It saves me time, saves me energy, gives me strength, right? If I wait till after the program and then get ready, sometimes you lose steam. It's the same way we're preparing for the new year. You want to start earlier. All right, I've seen that response. I wish I could see like one more. I want to believe some people are typing, and that's why we haven't seen it yet. Whilst you type, how many of us were able to get on the page of Brala Day yesterday and say thank you to her on her Instagram page? It just that's the only kind of reward, as it were, that we can give. There is no honorarium, there is no payment, it's thank you, as simple as that. Yes, I know we said thank you during the program, where we're able to take it to the next level and say, okay, these were the learnings. For those of us in the WhatsApp group who were prepped or prodded or nudged to do so, how many of us actually clicked on that link and went there? It speaks to something. It speaks to following through on that expression. I've started my daily gratitude journal that I was meant to start last year. Great. The fact that excuses are real is making me become so mindful of them. They are real. So many things have changed. I've been interacting with wisdom. I've started thinking towards wisdom, asking questions. The wise will always ask questions. Thank you to those who did go on to say thank you. To Brother Day, thank you. Josephine says you did. Zita did. My mom, Nancy Oamen, is here. Good morning, Mama. Good to see you today. And I want to believe Daddy is next to you there. So good morning, Daddy. Welcome again. This morning we jump into Proverbs chapter 7. Wow, 7 days in. I've also started intentional videos that I have wanted to start making, that I had wanted to start making next year. Fantastic. You started already. I'm happy, so happy to see this. Fantastic. We are here again. We are here again. We are here again. Lord, we are here again. Father, come and take your place. Father, come and take control. Holy Ghost, come and take your place. We are here again with wisdom at Proverbs 7. Are you excited? Are you happy? We're reading the Message translation today. Yesterday, when Bralade was reading the message translation, I was just like, oh, I missed my message translation. Oh, hold on, let me see. Is this the message? Hold on. It's supposed to be message. Yes, message translation. That's it. Yes, this is it. So we're back here. I missed it. Dear friend, do what I tell you. Treasure my careful instructions. Are you with me? Treasure my careful instructions. Do what I say, and you will live well. The quality of life different from just living. Live well. We don't just want to live, we want to live in peace. We want to live with joy. We want to live in harmony. We want to live well. We want to live well. Please don't fall into that trap of, oh, something must kill a man, so let me just behave as I like. Why? That thing that we say you only live once, is it really true? Is it really true? I think we live every day. I think we live every day. So if I'm going to live every day, today, tomorrow, I want to live well. My teaching is as precious as your eyesight. Guard it. Guard it. Someone said to me yesterday that she had been missing the early part of WISER almost every day. She joins in maybe halfway or so. Why? Because she doesn't have an alarm set to wake her up. So she trusts that somehow she'll be up at 6. And so many times she's up at past 6. And so she joins from where she joins in. And I was like, are you serious? Is that guarding it like your eyesight? You want to protect the teachings that would change you, that would improve you, that would guard you and guide you. So it's not just about WISER, it's about all the other teachings that we already have had, or you would have in 2023, the programs you would attend, the conversations you will have with people. So you see, when you sit with certain people to learn from, we need to be careful of the kinds of conversations. So this is, maybe I want to sit with one of my mentors, Senior Buma. I called Senior Buma yesterday. I want to sit with her and have a conversation about how to do something. This is the reason why I want to have this conversation with her. I want her to teach me about this. But I get to her and I start asking questions about, how is, let's talk about politics. Oh, this Nigeria. I start going round in circles and not going straight to the point. That's not protecting teaching like my eyesight. Guard it. This is why I want to speak with you. These are the questions I have. Can we talk about these? It means I would also prepare for the conversation. I'm not just say, well, let's see how it goes. Guard my teaching because my teaching is as precious as your eyesight. Guard it. Write it on the back of your hands. Have reminders set. Write it in your notes. Some of us have only diaries that we carry around, but we always have our devices. On your device, is there a notepad where you write things down so it's always close to you, that you can always reference? If it's so important to you, can you email it to yourself so that regardless of where you are in the world, you can always go back to your email, open it and say, okay, on that day I sent myself this message. Oh yes, these are the things I must always remember. Guard it. That's part of writing it in the back of your hands, as in let it always be with you. Put a stick it note on your mirror, on your window, in your car, on your purse, on your laptop, to remind you to do so, 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 and so, right? Etch it in the chambers of your heart. Repetition is the law of deep and lasting impression. Repetition. So the more you repeat something, the more you interact with it, the easier it is to be etched in the chambers of your heart. Always remember that when we're trying to teach children, for example, letters, or we're trying to teach them the alphabet, they practice every day. When we're trying to teach numbers, when we're trying to teach multiplication table, it is practiced every day until it becomes a way of life. If you're trying to learn a new language, you'll be told to practice, 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 practice with people, speaking it with people, use it in conversations all the time until it becomes a part of you. That is etching in the chambers of your heart. So, is it really enough to interact with that information once and think it will be etched? No. Of course, sometimes there's some things that are so deep that they cut in so hard, it's difficult to be unetched. But there's some other things you need to interact with. That's why we keep coming back to Wiser every year. And it's the same book that we keep interacting with. And there are some of us who will still read this book of Proverbs 1 to 31 once or twice during the year. Why? We want to etch it in the chambers of our heart because we are not infallible, because we can forget. And sometimes we misbehave and we get out of line because we forget. So the more we stay with it, that wisdom, the more we interact, the more likely we are to finally cooperate with it. You know, sometimes we know a thing, but we don't do it because at that time, what we've interacted with the most gets the better part of us, which might be our mundane thoughts. We might have interacted with our mundane thoughts so much that we just give in. We've not bulletproofed ourselves enough that when the challenge comes, we overcome, we just flow in. So wisdom is saying to us, etch it on the chambers of your heart. Talk to wisdom as a sister. Treat insight as your companion. They'll be with you to fend off the temptress. If you keep wisdom and insight close to you as a companion, they will fight for you in the time of temptation. They will be with you. You won't have to fight alone. But if wisdom is far as a distant cousin, or insight is far as a traveled away neighbor, somebody who has jackpot, they are far from you, it's difficult to fight with you when temptations come. Keep them close. So does this mean that advice that many of us have heard, read 10 pages a day or read 20 pages a day, is valid? Yes, I dare say, and please, I say this with every sense of responsibility, it's not in the number of books. No, it's in the quality of being etched in our hearts as a sister or a companion. So if you pick one book and say, this is the only book I would read for the next 3 months, as I finish it, I will start again. As I finish it, I will start again until I have read it 3 times in the next 3 months. Or I would read each chapter 3 times before I move on to the next chapter. Guess what? You are likely going to get more value having wisdom as a sister. You are more likely going to have that information as a sister, as a close companion. It's more likely going to be etched in your heart than if you read one book a month without repetition. Yes. So in 2023, that's going to be our year of reading. We have agreed that. How are we going to read it? That's another question. Are you going to say 2023, I must finish 24 books? Bam! Great! How much of the quality of information from the 24 books will stay with you as a sister or as a companion? That's the next question. If you can read 24 books with some level of repetition, yes, because you might be a fast reader, speed reader, and you're able to do it. Maybe you have enough time to, maybe you're able to dedicate 2 hours to your reading per day, and you're able to read them at least over and over again, then fine. But if it's that you read so fast, you barely remember what you read. Yesterday, I was reading a page in a book that has just gotten me, is just so sweet to me right now. And when I got to the middle of the page, I realized I had forgotten what I read at the top of the page. So I went back to the top. And as I was reading that top, it was like, oh, wow, what was on the previous page? So I went back to the previous page. And as I was reading it a second time, some things looked like I hadn't read them before. And I just laughed. I was like, gosh, the way our minds are so active, we're moving different stuff. So I said, this is the reason why when you finish this book, you need to start again. Because before you are done, there's some things you would have read here that you would have forgotten. Meanwhile, you need to carry them in your heart. You see what I mean? Does this happen to you? I bet it does, because we both have brains. Quality etched enough to be as companions or sister, so that they will fend off the temptress in the day of temptations. They'll be with you to fend off the temptress, that smooth talking, honey tongued seductress when they come. So I was with some of my team members yesterday, and one said to me that he was receiving 12 outfits yesterday, courtesy the other girl who sells fabrics. He said, this seductress, she seduces me to buy her fabrics. And can you believe that today I'm receiving 12? He now said, Odeshi, that he needs to bulletproof himself against her. And I laughed, because here wisdom is talking about seductress aspects, sexual seduction. For some of us, sex is not our issue, as it were. But there are other seductions that easily beset us. And if you check it, it could be that we have not interacted with the wisdom to keep us away from that kind of seduction. We've not interacted with that kind of wisdom enough to make her our sister, or with insight to make her our companion. So when that seductress comes, we are falling yakata on the bed of whatever seduction that is. It might be food. So the wisdom to protect ourselves from certain things might be, don't keep them in your home. Have you heard that kind of thing before? That if you want to stop eating a certain thing, don't bring it into your home. Because if it's in your home, even if you lock it in a cupboard, chances are that when the temptation comes, you will go open that cupboard and bring it out. Interact with that wisdom enough until she becomes your companion. So when you see the thing in the store and you want to buy it and bring it to the house, you say no. As long as it's not in the house, I'll be better. And so at 11 p.m., when the thing is calling your name, you just remember you want to check for it, but it's not in your house. Alas, that day you've been saved. You were able to overcome the temptress, the smooth talking, honey tongued seductress of chocolate cookies. Why? She wasn't at home with you. You kept the wisdom close to guide you. But if she was in that house, in the fridge, or locked up in the cupboard, you very likely would have come to bring her to bed with you. Oh, yes. So keep her away. That's the wisdom for that kind of seductress. For some, it's the seductress of gossip. When you see these set of people, you will sit down with them, and before you know it, you will dissect one or two people, and you will feel bad later. Now, the wisdom for that might be to avoid these people completely, right? But no, you will say to yourself, no, no, no. When I go and see them this time, I'll tell them that this gossiping we're doing is not good. So we shouldn't be gossiping again. No, the wisdom didn't tell you to go and preach. Wisdom said, run. So you see them, you say, oh, good morning. Hi, yeah, I'm just running off to this place. And you run off to that place. And that day, you have been able to overcome the smooth talking, honey tongued seductress of gossip. Because there is almost always a way that wisdom prefers. How many of us even know the wisdom? There are those ways to keep money away from being spent. Oh, go and place this thing, this, what you call it, this instruction on your account that in a month you cannot withdraw this amount, you cannot withdraw more than this amount from your account. Go to your bank and say, I'm placing this limit on my account. In a month, I cannot, no matter what, withdraw more than 300,000. I'm placing this limit here. I believe bankers, please tell me, are these things possible? And then they place that limit. And so when you try to withdraw more than the 300K, it tells you, Deshi, it's not going to go through. So because you have that limit, you have created that limit, you've put it in place to stop you, because you that it would either be somebody, it's for a noble cause or it's for a nonsense cause, but whatever, you tend to overshoot your monthly budget. Thank you. Yes, it's true. CBN even has started helping us. It's possible. So go and place it, because almost every month you sit down, you beat yourself, you cry about, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just spend within my limit? Why is it that every month I'm always here? Oh my God. For some of us, it's to place something called a standing order, right? Nonsense cause. Standing order that says, on the first of every month, I am debited this amount to my parents. I'm debited this amount to the person I buy my power recharge card from. For those of us who use recharge cards for our power meters, our NEPA meters. So on the first of every month, I'm debited. On the first of every month, I'm debited for my airtime and my data. On the first of every month, I'm debited this amount as something something. So some of us have this utility card that we live with the person who takes care of the home. Or that's where they buy petrol from for the gen, or they buy bread, they buy other things, they go to market from, blah blah blah. So I think a bank like GT, you can't put in more than 80K on that account or so, and everything they need to spend from that account every month is about 70 something K. So first of every month, I am debited this amount into that utility card, so that I know that this is taken care of, that is taken care of. Every month on the 15th or on the 1st, I am debited 150,000 from my account, and it is put into the rent contribution account where I contribute my rent to. And on that rent contribution account, there is another standing order. There are no withdrawals here except on the 1st of July every year, when I am debited and it is paid into my landlord's account. Look, it sounds like guess what? It is people who do things like that with such intentionality that are able to fend off the temptress, the smooth talking, honey tongued seductress of make we spend money where we never budget. If it's making sense to you, write anything you want to write in the chat. You can write sense, make sense, MS, give it an emoji, just write something. Interact with the chat and make a decision. And not just make a decision, get it done today. That thing that we need to be. Else, we are in trouble again in 2023, and I forbid it. I forbid it. This is the last year ever for someone where as your rent is due, you will be hyperventilating. If it happened in 2022, this might be the last time it ever happened, because now, today, the 7th of December, you will use your lunch break and head to the bank and put a standing order on your rent contribution. You will open a sub account that you didn't have yesterday, and you will call it your rent contribution account, and you would have standing order that this amount will be debited from your main account into your standing order, your rent contribution account. You will do it today. And for the first time in your life in 2023, when you're due for rent, you have a smile on your face rather than, oh my God, it has come again, or for school fees, or for that thing. Today, somebody is going to do it. I know it. I know it. For some of us, the excuse would have been, oh, don't know how to do it on my app, or the banking app. Go to the bank. Don't say, well, the app was what. Go to the bank. Get it done. Oh, yes, we know better now, and we're going to do better. For some of us may not have heard me talk about this with school fees, we're always under pressure because the planning is off. So today you might need to go and see the head of school, the proprietor or the head teacher or something, and say, hey, I want to work out a yearly plan where I am not paying school fees every term. I'm paying every month, meaning I will pay 12 months. Even the months we're on holiday, I will be paying. So my child's school fees is 600,000 for the year, or something for the year. I've come to have the agreement with you, and here is the standing order that I have put in place, or these are the checks I have brought, or whatever it is. Every month, 60,000 will be debited from me into the school accounts. But I need us to have this agreement so that so that at the beginning of the term, if I have only paid this amount, you won't say, oh, I'm trying to dodge. No, 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 no. This is our agreement. I've even put it in writing so that we are having it as an agreement, so that I will never owe your school again. My child is too important for this. For somebody else, the wisdom might be you will change your children's school to a more affordable school, even though your mind has been telling you this for so long, but you've been like, no, 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 I want to give my children the best. But you are always, always, always owing. The children are always embarrassed. So you want to give them the best, but they are dying under the shame every day for what is not their business. Every time they are called out that they are owing school fees, because your intention is good, pure, honest. You want to give the best, but you've gone where your hand never reach. And who is suffering more than anybody else? Possibly your children. And so they're in a place where they are almost always under pressure. And to you, it's okay. They will, after all, we turned out all right. They'll be all right. They may not. You might need to move them to the school you can afford and do some level of due diligence. Because that sometimes, and I'm not trying to play down anything, please. Sometimes these schools may not even be as bad as we make them out to be. Sometimes it's a perception. Sometimes it's a perception. Sometimes they're really bad, yes. But check it. For someone else, the wisdom might be you will really sit. And I know I had this conversation last year, and I know two people who reached out to me to say they had followed through with this. Last year, we talked about you may do the math and say, my two children, 700,000 naira each per year, 1.4 million. I've not been able to meet up ever for two of them. Meanwhile, if I get one teacher I will go to one of those good schools, as it were, and find one teacher that can take them in the top 4 courses or the 5, subjects. These are children in primary school or something, and homeschool them. So I already have my mother who lives with me. So there's somebody in the house all the time. And this teacher comes 4 hours every day for academic work. And we agree that we can pay this teacher, what, 150,000 every month. Okay, that still comes to 1.5 million. Or we can pay this teacher 100,000 every month. That seems much more affordable for me. And this teacher is able to cover the curriculum with them because they are only 2. They're not 32 in a class, they're 2. So they're able to go over the curriculum 4 times in the same time that they would have done the curriculum once. And then we can also throw in book reading. So the children are able to read 3 books every 2 months, and so, but it requires sitting down to plan. And you find this teacher who lives not too far away from you, who is able to homeschool your children in the presence of your parents. And sometimes you are home, and guess what? They get all the value they need, but they do not attend a regular school. They're schooled at home with you. It's unconventional. It's not very common, but it's working. And I have them. At least now I have 3 families I know in this Nigeria who are homeschooling their children. And when you place their children side by side, their mates in regular school, they are a few steps ahead because of the intentionality of what they are doing. But you see, it won't come from the sky. It will only come when we treat wisdom as a sister and treat insight as a companion so that they'll help us fend off the temptress, that smooth talking, honey tongued seductress of go and pay for school that your money no reach. It takes planning, it takes thinking through, it takes testing. We don't live once, we live every day, every single day. Verses 6 to 12. As I stood at the window of my house, looking through the shutters, watching the mindless crowd stroll by, I spotted a young man without any sense, arriving at the corner of the street where she lived, that smooth seductress, that honey-tongued seductress. He arrived around her house, but he did not know anything. He had no sense. He had not been taught that this woman is around here. Then turning up the path to her house, I saw him. It was dusk, the evening coming on, the darkness thickening into night. Just then, a woman met him. She'd been lying in wait for him, dressed to seduce him. But guess what? He is the one that didn't know. He didn't knew it. If he didn't dare, he didn't dare. What wisdom is saying is the seductress will always be there waiting. But do you know? Do you know what you're going through? Where are you going to? Do you know? Why did that song just come to me? I think that's Diana Ross. Do you know that? Do you know the seductress that is waiting for you in corporate Nigeria? Do you know the seductress that is waiting for you in public service? Have you studied wisdom, gotten the right knowledge to understand the seductress that is waiting for you because you are a fine boy, because you are a fine girl? Do you know the ways, the pickup lines, the manners, the mannerisms? Do you know? Are you ready? Or are you just blindly going to walk in there and say, well, I didn't know? She'd been lying in wait for him, dressed to seduce. Brazen and brash she was, restless and roaming, never at home, walking the streets, loitering in the mall, hanging out at every corner in town. She was waiting for the one that has no clue who she is. And that's the one she will catch. So yes, I agree. Sometimes this information you get, the way scammers are working now, they would ask you to please carry their things from here. Say you're going to the UK, or you're going to any of the abroad, they'll say, please carry this thing and give my cousin from you. They're saying, be careful now. Sometimes even inside that crayfish that they're giving you to carry, something is inside. Wisdom. So they will say, oh, my friend's sister's uncle's mother's cousin, the one that lives behind the transformer, she wants to send something to her son. Can you help? Please, I only help those who are my family members. The world has been like this, and I just want to please only my direct siblings, cousins, aunties, uncles. In fact, I'm not doing for auntie and uncle self, I'm doing only for siblings. In fact, my siblings don't send me to carry crayfish to our brothers and our sisters in the abroad. Let them buy the crayfish that is already there, because Omo, I don't think I want to go through any. It's okay because you want to avoid the brazen, brash, restless, roaming, never at home seductress that might have extra contraband inside. It's your prerogative to say no. But then you might decide to help from the fullness of your heart and say, I will. These are just things to think on. She threw her arms around him, kissed him, boldly took his arm and said, I've got all the makings for a feast. Today, I made my offerings, my vows are all paid. So now I've come to find you, hoping to catch sight of your face. And here you are, alas. I've spread clean, fresh, clean sheets on my bed, colorful, imported linens. My bed is aromatic with spices and exotic fragrances. Come, let's make love all night. Spend the night in ecstatic love making. My husband's not home. He's away on business and won't be back for a month. And the guy, because he has no clue, hey, guy just fall bam, because I mean, this woman, she spent all this time and energy just for me. He doesn't know that that's what she says to everybody, so he feels special and just but if he had been told, been warned, if he had asked a few questions, he might have known that there is this woman who does this and that's her stock in trade, to tell you all the beauties of what you are missing by not being with her. And then when he would have heard her speak, he would have looked at her and said, ah, I know you. They told me about you. Thank you for your fresh linens. Guess what I have in my own house? Fresh linens. Guess what I have in my own house? Nice scents. So this brings me to something we talked about 2 weekends ago. We hung out with a few friends from the School of Politics, Policy and Governance, class of 2023, and my Edo Development Organization brothers and sisters were also there. So it was like a two-in-one hangout for me. And so we were talking, those of us in EDO, we sat together, Edo Development Organization, sat together and we're talking about some of these things that our parents did intentionally or not intentionally, or we might be doing now intentionally or not, to prepare our children, boys and girls, for life. So I remember that my dad would take us to Chinese restaurants in Port Harcourt. There used to be one at Garrison. There was another restaurant at Waterlines. I still remember something bistro where we ate boneless chicken for the first time. And we would have these spreads at Christmas or sometimes people's birthdays in the house. The dining table will have different types of spread. My granddad, who was a chef, would bake different things and put there. And we did these things at home. One of the things that I learned from that, and I'm sure by way of conversation, because somehow it was etched in my memory. No guy was ever able to thrill me out of this world with taking me to a nice place to eat, because there really wasn't anything I hadn't eaten at home. It was not a big deal. Now, what we were discussing that day was perhaps we should be even more intentional and say to our children that, look, The most fanciful meals are this. You may not be able to afford them to have on the table, but you can have the conversation by looking at the photos and the videos together and looking at the ingredients used to make them and say, well, there's nothing too fancy about this. It's nice to have. One day we will eat it, but let nobody use it to ever hold us to ransom. And you're talking about it with your children, right? And saying it's food, it's just food. However you want to do it, figure out the best way. And commonize the thing that might be the bait tomorrow. You might want to save up one kind of money and say, for all of my children, for their 15th birthdays, I will take them to sleep in a 5-star hotel, as long as it's your birthday. When my child is turning 10 or 11 or 15, choose a date or a birthday and say, I will take that child, I will save the money, I will start putting it aside. How much is the room there? 120,000. Ewo, but I will save it. Why? I want to give him or her that experience and say, at least from here, you've experienced it. Let it never become a bait. Let it never become a bait. This might be the one time you've stayed here, but let nobody ever say to you, oh, I want to take you to so and so place in life. And that will now be, hey, fall yakata. Because perhaps it's something worth thinking through. It's something worth considering. It's something worth planning for. Oh, every child, I may not do it for every child every year, but for one child on certain birthday, I will do this to give them so and so experience. So that from us as a family, as parents, they got this. I will buy her first perfume and her first expensive bottle of perfume. I will buy it for her on her 18th birthday or on her 16th birthday, because 18 might be going too far, or on her 16th birthday, her sweet 16. I will buy that expensive bottle of perfume, and then we will have, it's not just about the perfume, it's a conversation we'll have about the perfume. The day before, we'll talk about it this way. I would give it to her and tell it to her as this. And I would tell her that the fragrance of this, I will plan it. See, it is that planning that is the thing. That's the cocoa, the planning for it, the being aware of it. That's the thing. Not just that you buy her the perfume. So some parents will buy the perfume, but no lesson learned. Because conversation was not had. Remember what it said here about the guy. See it clearly. It says, I spotted a man, a young man, without any sense. This is the issue, the withoutness of sense, the not having the sense. Because sense, like we established, I think on day 1, day 2, was where we said the good sense comes from interaction with quality of knowledge and wisdom. So if your child, if my child, if our children are going to have the sense, they will get it from us. We will talk about it with them. We will talk about sex. We will talk about relations. We will talk to our boys about rape, about when a girl says no. We will talk to our boys that if she's good enough to sleep with, she has to be good enough to marry. It's not going to be, you're going to sow your wild oats. We will have the conversation with our sons and not say, well, we turned out okay, they'll be all right. We will have the conversation. The conversations that seem to be uncomfortable, we will make it happen. So that they can have some sense. You know, sometimes we misbehave, we get out of line, and then we remember what our parents said, and then that thing comes alive. It's difficult to remember what you never heard. It's difficult to remember what you never heard. Some of us just believe that somehow, even if we don't say it as parents, in this world where information is all about, they will hear it somewhere. They may not hear it the way it should be from you, who is wiser. So find out and let's have the conversation. The purity pact we want to have with our daughters, let's also have it with our sons. Teach them how to care for others and how to not always mind their business. Sometimes they will not mind their business. If they see somebody being hurt somewhere, they might have to speak up because it's what we require. Let's have the conversation. Let's have the conversation. Let's please have the conversation. So she has said to him, I'm ready for you. My husband will not be back for a month. Verse 21, of course. She now has him eaten out of her hand. He has been bewitched by her honeyed speech. She also has been bewitched by his honey speech if we switch the roles. Before you know it, he's trotting behind her like a calf led to the butcher shop, like a stag lured into ambush and then shot with an arrow, like a bird flying into a net, not knowing that its flying life is over. That young 16, 17-year-old that has no resilience because we didn't allow them fail. Oh, from nursery 2, they were put in primary 1. They were told how sharp they are, how smart they are. From primary 4, they were moved to JS1 at age 8. So they've never had an interaction with failure. We've protected them, shielded them from failure. So they are now 18 in year 3 or something. And the moment they fail, they are sad. They can't stand up. They want to die. Oh my God. I'm useless. Maybe I should just kill myself. They want to start interacting with the honey-tongued seductress of suicide that is in the air, that people are talking about everywhere because the conversations about failure, the experiences of failure have not been had. They are now like calf being led to the butcher shop and we are running helter-skelter. When my enemies are against me, what's happening to this, my 20-year-old? Why is he on drugs? Why is she smoking? Why is she taking shisha? We hear every day she's here and there. I'm not saying that it's always the case, but it just could be. So what do we do now? Go through therapy and all and try to reform, revive. So for those who are the ones with the very young children now, can we start teaching them what failure is? How failure is only feedback. Failure is only showing you what to do differently or what to prepare for, the same way any other blinker on your dashboard is an indicator, is a feedback mechanism to tell you something. I'm not saying that child is not okay for the child to be so sharp. I'm saying when they fail, how do we teach them about failure? And say, yeah, it's okay. This is actually not see, failure is postponed success. Failure is only telling you check your tracks, go and look again. Not, oh, you failed. Hey, you are the head and not the tail. You can never, so we now start using scriptures to take them to where scriptures. Go and learn it. Go and learn it. Learn parenting. Parenting is not a thing because you have a child. You're a parent because you've learned how to parent. Else you are a baby mama and a baby papa. But a parent has learned to parent, to teach, so that they can be resilient and strong. And it's okay. And sometimes they feel bad, and you say it's okay to feel bad because even the Bible says, hope deferred makes the heart weak. And then, but you know what? I'm going to give you only 20 minutes to feel bad. After feeling bad, what are we going to do next? So I'm setting my alarm here. I put it setting my reminder, hey, it's 20 minutes, feel bad time is over. So what do we do now? You might allow them, okay, so I'm going to read it again. Fantastic, because failure is what feedback. It only showed you that you didn't know enough about this part. So now let's go and focus on this part for today. Let's study it. Let's see it. You are allowed to feel bad. So I'm going to set the alarm for 1 hour to feel bad. You're allowed to feel bad because that's what we do as human beings. But we're going to feel bad only for today. Okay? Today is feel bad day. Tomorrow, we think of the way to get back because it's okay to feel bad for X amount of time. And then the next morning, when was feel bad day? Yesterday. What are we doing today? We move. So we don't say, no, 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 don't feel bad. No, no, no. It's human to feel bad. Just make sure it is the right time. And they understand that it's okay to mourn, it's okay to grieve, because we do feel bad when things don't go wrong, and it's okay. So don't use scriptures to say this, that, that. No, don't do that. We were made by God in his image and likeness, and he feels bad sometimes. He has felt bad when his children didn't behave like this and like that, and he felt bad. You even hear he repented of his ways, and he said, oh, never again will I do this. We are made. It's okay. So feel bad, and let's lie down on the floor. And the child spills the milk sometimes, and they say, okay, I'm going to roll in the milk with you on the floor. And after we finish feeling bad, and you say, that milk was the milk for the next 3 days. We both laugh about it and say, so now we have no milk for the next 3 days. The mistake will now be to go and buy that milk. You don't dare buy that milk. They need to understand that the milk that they spilled out of anger and frustration is lost. They may not get it back. So don't rush to go and buy that milk and say, okay, well, we felt bad, that's why we spilled it, so let's buy a new one. Nah, I catch you. We laugh about it together and we say, now that milk is gone. So it means for the next 3 days, we have no milk. And they're like, so mom, won't you buy another one? No, that was the budget. So our anger cannot stop us from thinking. That's a time to learn resilience. Don't you dare buy that milk again. And so they understood that something will be lost when they misbehave in anger. And it's not always about naughty corner. No, sometimes it's, we laugh about it, but the milk is gone. And when they come, mom, please buy it now. And they go, that was the milk. That's it. So next time when you're angry, what would you do? They'll be like, wow, I would just sit down and be angry, but I won't pour the milk. I'm like, I think that would be great so that we would have milk when the anger time is over. I love you, my love. That's life. Bad things happen. We just need to know how to harness. So when we get angry, what can we do? You can have a conversation. We will all make mistakes. Please, 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 I beg you. This is not supposed to make anybody feel bad and say, oh my God, I'm a useless parent. No, 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 don't do that. It's okay to feel bad. You didn't know. So feel bad for the next 2 seconds or the next 3 minutes. And after that, okay, now that I know, opportunity to behave differently. Now that I know. And yes, if you must feel bad for the rest of the day, it's okay, but give yourself the time limit to feel bad. But, oh, I didn't know. Oh, we didn't know. We didn't know. Fine. Now we know. Let's move. So, friends, listen to me. Joyce, pull your ear and say, Joyce, listen to wisdom. Take these words of hers most seriously. Take my words seriously. Don't fool around with a woman like that. Don't even stroll through her neighborhood. Are you there? Don't even think like you are Superman. Don't you dare go there. Wisdom is not telling you, well, go see, sit with her, talk, and then try and convince her, preach and convert her. Wisdom said, don't even stroll there. Countless victims come under her spell. She's the death of many a poor man. Can you imagine? Just because the man is without sense, he's now being called poor. So when we are lacking the sense, the wisdom in a certain area, we are poor in that area. She's the death of many a poor man. She runs a halfway house to hell, fits you out with a shroud and a coffin. Remember, it says the lack of wisdom is death. Death in so and so area, death in sexual behaviors, death in interaction behaviors, death in social skills, death in, and sometimes it is real physical death, that because you didn't know this, that, and the other, you led to your own downfall. Because you know how we say sometimes, or we've heard the saying that some of us are digging our graves with forks and knives. We are eating into our death. So flee. So run away. That's the wise thing to do when you see the place that can lead you to death. Run. Joyce, my love, please run. Don't stay and say you are strong, you are titanium. Titanium key you there. Run. 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 Running, running, running to you, wisdom. I am running to you, running, running, running to you. Inside, anywhere that you go, I'm running, running, running to you, wisdom. I am running to you, running. I'm a runner. I can run 100 meters anywhere you go. I'll run to you. I will run with you. I won't do strong man, strong things. I will run. When I see them gathering to do the thing that I say I don't want to be a part of, I won't say, well, I need to prove that I'm a child of God. I'm going to sit with them and, Odeshi. I'm going to run to save my life from death so that I live life and live it well. I would run to wisdom. I would run to insight. So this morning might be a good time to actually write some decisions about certain places, people, things you will run away from. It's not enough to know where you're running away from. Where would you run to when such situations arise? Who will be your go-to, or where will be your go-to? Will you run home? What? Run somewhere. Run to wisdom. And where will that wisdom be? So determine it today if you can, and run there. Run there. Run there. In our bid to be titanium, we've run into some major issues in life. Run. You can see it misbehaving in front of you. You know that thing they say, if it smells like shit, looks like shit, it probably is shit. Run and run to life. I love you. I wish you the best of the day, the best of the month, the best of 2023 as we run together to wisdom, away from that smooth talking, honey tongued temptress of whatever shape or form that she is. We are running together. And we forgive ourselves for every time we've fallen into her snare. Today, we're not going to beat ourselves in shame. No, remember what many of us took away from that. Integrity is better than what? Wanting to be right. So that time we thought we were right. Now we know better. We'll say, I thought it was, I am running now. So run. I forgive myself. So say it with me, I forgive myself for every time that I have tried to be Superman or Superwoman and then I have run into trouble. Today, rather than beat myself, I forgive myself because I didn't know better. Now I know better. I will do better. I forgive myself. And Lord, I'm grateful for the privilege to learn, for my eyes to be open, for me to change direction with my dignity intact. I am grateful to you. Today is a day for a turnaround. I'm doing things differently. When I hear that voice of the temptress, I'll recognize her. And rather than confront her, today I'm gonna run. I'm just gonna run. Ha! Thank you, Lord, for this privilege. I am grateful to you. I am grateful to you. Oh, thank you. I am grateful. So here's to a great day of running. I don't have my glass today, I have my full bottle. Here is cheers to running, running to wisdom, running away from the temptress. Cheers.